The Chicago Bears have clinched the playoffs and things feel different around it. Caleb Williams is now clapped back in regards to some of his haters, and Ben Johnson is building something special here in Chicago. We're talking about the comments from both those sides and more on today's Chicago Bears Central, which we're going to get into right after this. What's going on, Bears fans? Welcome to another episode of Chicago Bears Central, your number one spot for everything Chicago Bears related. I'm the host there, Hayes, but more importantly, you guys can follow the channel at Chi Bears Central on every social media platform we happen to be on. With that said, let's go ahead and get into this content for today, y'all. And man, listen, the Chicago Bears have clinched the playoff spot, as we all talked about, but the business is not done yet for them. They still have number one seed in the NFC North, which is a possibility for them to still be able to clinch. They have a game coming up against the San Francisco 49ers, which is going to be a major test for them as well. But throughout this entire season, there's been a lot of doubt. There's been a lot of hate from social media, from Bears fans, in regards to Caleb Williams and doubt around him. At one point early in the season, people were questioning if Caleb Williams was even a fit for Ben Johnson's system and had some serious questions around that. And I remember at the time of that report, I had a video out on it and I talked about it, saying that's just absolutely asinine for a coach in Ben Johnson to talk about the fact that he builds his system around his players. And he was very adamant at the early, saying there wasn't a system yet. They're waiting to build off of it and see what the players did, in training camp and things like that. But for what it's worth, Caleb Williams has now clapped back at some of that, saying this: I was told I'm not a good fit here. Told that coach I won't work. Told that I can't win here. And this is a little beating on the chest by the Chicago Bears. By Caleb Williams, and rightfully so. Listen, I'm not mad when you talk after winning, right? And Caleb has earned that throughout the season. He has responded very graciously to doubters and things around him. He's talked about and called himself out with some of his lack of performance at certain times and things that he's fallen short at. He's talked about the team and how the team could get better. But now that Caleb Williams has, worked with Ben Johnson, and it has been all perfect for Caleb Williams, make no mistake about it. But the fact is that the hate around Caleb was very, very loud. And now, even though some people are starting to, come down on that a little bit and starting to realize, hey, maybe we judged this Caleb guy a little bit too early. Not to say that there aren't some shortcomings that Caleb has, not to say that there aren't things that Caleb Williams needs to get better at, for sure, right? But let's look at the reality of it. Caleb Williams, with 2 games left on the season, has 3,400 yards passing with 23 touchdowns, only 6 interceptions, and he was been sacked 23 times. 4,000 yards and 30 passing touchdowns is a realistic possibility for Caleb Williams this year. Now, at this point, I'm not even worried about that. The Bears are winning. That is the most important part here. The Bears are winning football games. That's the most important part. And when you look at everything that this Bears team has had to deal with, not to say that it's unique to them, a lot of teams have had to deal with injuries. A lot of teams have had to deal with key pieces of the rotation not being fully healthy. But when you look at this for the Chicago Bears, never having the secondary that we planned on having. At one point in time, we didn't have our linebackers out there. The defensive line has been disappointing. We had a completely new built offensive line and a completely new coaching staff. And throughout all of that, this Bears team has competed every step of the way. And yeah, Caleb Williams' completion percentage is 57.8%. Cool. It's all fine and dandy there, right? But the 3,400 yards, the 23 touchdowns, not to mention the almost 400 yards he has on the ground as well. Caleb Williams has earned the right to beat on his chest. And you know why he's earned that right? Because he's a playoff quarterback now. He's earned that right. A lot of y'all said when we were talking, wins and losses are a QB stat. Now, hold on to that. Hold on to that. Because it is a QB stat. And that's what I got to say. Now, Caleb also said this in regards to Ben Johnson. Yeah, I got the best coach in the world. Let's put it that way. We have the best coaching staff in the world, and so you put the talent with the coaches and people that care so you can strive for anything. You can reach anything. You can go after any goal. When you go out there on that football field, your belief is at an all-time high between players, between coaches, and you have outcomes like this. I love that. because we haven't always had that. You look at what we had under Matt Nagy. We went from Nagy to the Eberflus. We went from Nagyism to Eberflus. And it was like nobody trusted Matt Eberflus. Matt Eberflus didn't trust Matt Eberflus because he couldn't hold himself fucking accountable. And so now in 1 year, we have turned that part around where not only do we have a coaching staff that we can trust, we have a coaching staff that's getting the best out of this roster and a quarterback as well who is playing pretty damn solid for the Chicago Bears team. And yeah, he's going to have growth to do. And for people who thought that the generational tag meant that Caleb Williams was going to come in here and just be perfect from day one, I don't know what to tell y'all. I always told y'all that was never going to be the case for this team. But you are seeing a team that is bonding together and that's figuring it the hell out on the football field. And when you talk about the Iceman and what Caleb Williams has done in the fourth quarters, say what you will throughout the game. And there are some things that Caleb will tell you himself he needs to get better on. But Caleb Williams and Ben Johnson are going to be the backbone of something that we are building that has a legitimate future here in Chicago. And I, for one, love that because we haven't always been able to say that. We have not always been able to say that. Ben Johnson even talking about it, saying this in regards to Caleb Williams. We both have the same goals. We both can deeply care about this team. We deeply care about the city, and I care deeply about his success as well. He understands that now at this point, that what I've grown to love about him, I hope that he would echo the same thing. I think we mentally are very similar. We share a lot of the same competitive drive, and we think the same way in a lot of regards. That is what you need to have. When you talk about building something that's sustainable, when you talk about building something that's going to hopefully get you to a point of your team being able to be a solid overall football team, what does that need to be built around? The relationship between your head coach and the relationship between your quarterback are hugely important. Matt Eberflus had to bring Nick Saban in to tell him that and still couldn't fucking get it done, right? Still couldn't understand the concept of that. When you talk about building something and actually having something sustainable, when you talk about wanting to get out of the place that the Bears have been in and be just a better team overall, you know what that takes? That takes foundation. Caleb Williams, Ben Johnson have laid out the foundation of what this team could be going forward. Of course, you got other things. I'm not saying it's just them, right? This whole entire coaching staff has been that. You don't happily get to the point where the Bears are right now. And while people are still trying to paint it as a fluke and cheeseheads are out there saying they hope to face the Chicago Bears in the playoffs, okay, cool. I want everybody to keep that same fucking energy. That's what I want to happen. Keep that same energy. You doubt the Bears now, don't start believing in us. Don't start believing in us because I tell you what, I said it before. I'm trying to keep my objectivity. As somebody who runs a podcast, it's key that I separate the fan haze and I separate the podcaster haze. But the fan haze is here to tell y'all right now. Let me take off the hat. This is me being fan. This ain't haze. This is Cordero. The Chicago Bears are legitimate Super Bowl threats. And if you don't believe that, that's cool. Your mama's a dumb bitch too. The Bears are legitimate Super Bowl threats. And if you feel differently about that, you have your right. It's things you could point to, but I'm going to tell you this right now. Watch what this team does. This team is different, and it hasn't gotten here through happenstance. It's gotten here through hard work, and some of y'all don't want to see that hard work because you have your own fucking prejudices and stuff like that, and that's perfectly fine. Caleb Williams is the quarterback of this team, and the Bajent baddies, all that type of shit, all those people that are around here, deal with it. Because you're going to be seeing Caleb Williams for a long time in the Chicago Bears jersey. And that's all I got to say about that. No, someone had sent it to them. Oh, you talking about the beat, yeah. Caleb Clutch King of the fourth. Caleb, the Bears, and this is the thing. I get it, and I understand the doubt that a lot of people had with how many games have gone down to the wire for the Chicago Bears. But there's something about the resolve of a team that has had to figure out that level of play this first season altogether. And it's not easy to figure that out as the season goes on. The Bears had to put in work to get to this point. Put in work. Hopefully we cook teams I want to be able to beat Pat Mahomes. Listen, to me, I can care less at this point. This season has taught me I can care less about how you win. Just get the win. That's what I care about. Is how you win. This team is finding ways to win basketball games. Hold on, my Ring camera went off and should nobody be knocking on my door. Oh, this is Jehovah's Witnesses. No offense. I ain't got time. Yeah, so this team has really put in that work, man, and I hope that they continue to do that and just find their way, man, because this is a team that really has some potential to really do some stuff this offseason, and we're going to see how that continues to happen, right? So hearing those words from Caleb Williams and Ben Johnson, it should absolutely, did I say basketball? It should absolutely have you in a spot where being excited about this team. And that's all I got to say about that. Now, I do want to talk about Deshaun Wright a little bit, man. I want to talk about Deshaun Wright a little bit. So we know that 3 Bears did make the Pro Bowl. That's Kevin Byard, Drew Dahlman, Joe Tooney. All these guys were named to Pro Bowls after 12 Chicago Bears players were led in their position groups due to fan voting. Fan voting is only a third of the overall total that gets you into the Pro Bowl. But one of the guys that has been slighted has been Deshaun Wright. And Deshaun Wright talked a little bit about it where he said this. I would say I was probably more hopeful than anything. I mean, you think if you lead the league in takeaways, that's got to count for something, right? It's cool just coming from what I had to overcome. Now, Deshaun Wright has not been perfect, right? We know that he's had his own struggles in coverage. That's been a thing there that has been there for Caleb. That's been there for Deshaun Wright. But when you look at the 15 games that he's played so far, 67 tackles, 11 pass deflections, 5 interceptions, 3 tackles for a loss, 3 fumble recoveries, 2 QB hits, 1 pick six. Deshaun Wright not only leads the league in turnovers created with his 5 interceptions, 2 forced fumbles, and 3 fumble recoveries. This is a guy that's absolutely put in tons of work over the course of the season. Nobody expected Deshaun Wright to be who he is this season. Nobody expected that. Nobody thought that Deshaun Wright would be this level of player this year. And he is coming here in a season where we lost Jalen Johnson for most of the season. Kyler Gordon has not played the majority of the season at all. Terrell Smith got lost before the season even started. Deshaun Wright has stepped up and gave the Chicago Bears so much as far as performance that you cannot deny the impact that Deshaun Wright has had on this team. So the fact that he's not a Pro Bowler is unfortunate, and it sucks because I do think if he was named to that, he deserves it. But Deshaun Wright is going to use that for motivation. Somebody asked if the Bears that got snubbed from the Pro Bowl, are they going to come out even more aggressive? And, you know, a lot of the guys are veterans, and a lot of the guys have been through this before, but somebody like Deshaun Wright, who talked about, I had to overcome what I had to overcome, you best believe this motherfucker is going to use that as motivation for the majority of this year. You thought he was already hungry? Look at what he's going to do now. This dude is going to come into the rest of the season ready to knock heads off. And you want that. You want that. The secondary is such an important part of what Dennis Allen does as a quarterback. As a play caller. Every defensive play caller has their thing that is their thing that they need for their system, right? For Matt Eberflus, it was pressure from the interior line. He never got that 3-tech he wanted. We never got it, right? For Dennis Allen, his system is really predicated on the creativity that he has with the secondary. And this is a guy that was salivating at being able to have Kyler Gordon and how he was going to scheme Kyler Gordon. And he never had that. Now, we got C.J. Gardner-Johnson, which can do some similar things there, right? And we've seen that, and he's been a big weapon for it. But when you have players like Deshaun Wright step up in an unexpected manner, because nobody expecting Deshaun Wright to give this performance for the Bears, and he's earned his next contract, and hopefully that is with the Chicago Bears. And I can't wait to see what this kid does. You're now giving somebody who got snubbed from the Pro Bowl, who leads the NFL in takeaways, you're giving that person a motivation heading into the playoffs? Man, I tell you what, for the hunger that this team already has as a unit, Deshaun Wright is about to put, and I know this phrase catches people off guard, dicks in the dirt. That's what's going to happen. There's going to be a lot of dicks in the dirt because Deshaun Wright is about to be hungry. And I hate to see a quarterback that's passing to Deshaun Wright's side of the field, because you better know where this dude is at, because Deshaun Wright is about to make a lot of people pay for overlooking him when it comes down to the Pro Bowl this season. And I have no doubts about that. He's about to make a lot of people pay for that. And we'll see. Deshaun Wright is very hungry to end this year. Now, one of the questions as well that we have for the rest of this season is what's going to happen with Rome Odunze. We know that Rome was shut down. He didn't play in the last game. And Ben Johnson has already talked about and admitted there has been some thought of protecting Rome Odunze from himself. And Ben Johnson was asked about that by Courtney Cronin, and he said this. He's on track. He's in a good spot. He's going to be able to help us this year. So what does that mean? Does that mean that Rome Odunze is going to play again this season? I won't say that necessarily. We'll see what happens there. It could very well mean that, but it could also mean that they're talking about the playoffs. That's also what that could mean. Rome Odunze is a weapon, right? And you look at the matchups that we have left against the San Francisco 49ers, the Detroit Lions. This first game up against the Niners is going to be really important because of what this means for the Bears and what's still left potentially here for the Chicago Bears, right? And that's what the Bears have to try to figure out here. Is it worth playing Rome Odunze to try to give your opportunity for your team to secure the number 1 seed in the NFC? Or is it more valuable to have him ready to go for the playoffs and just let the chips fall where they may? And that's the question that Ben Johnson and the Chicago Bears are going to have to ask themselves with Rome. I don't see them, being too loose with Rome. I think they're going to be very cautious with what Rome Odunze can be for this team this season. But it does seem like, they're already sitting him out in next game, so he's not playing. It could seem like he could play in Week 17. And maybe that's to kind of get him back in rhythm and gear before the playoff starts. But it seems like that is a question there for Rome Odunze. So we'll see what's going to happen with that one. But before we leave, we do got one voicemail to get into. We got this voicemail. This one is from 7.
Peace and blessings. What's good? It's your boy 7 Inglewood's on right now in your zone. And, man, I just had a couple thoughts and a question, I guess, for y'all. I'm first of all, just really excited about, where the Bears are going, their direction and everything. And all of this in just 1 year, this turnaround is it's crazy. Just like y'all saying, I've been telling everybody we're ahead. We're ahead of where we're supposed to be. So everything on top of this is just great because really the goal this year was just to have a winning record, and we surpassed that already. But anyway, so I think with this next game coming up, I think this honestly is going to be the game that we wanted the Packers game to be. And I'm not saying that like the Packers game wasn't a challenge. I'm saying in terms of like a team coming at full speed, having everybody basically healthy and all that good stuff. And, and playing good football. So I think that's going to be a challenge. And on top of the fact that we're playing on their turf. But I think regardless of what happens with regardless of the outcome of that game, I think, contrary to what the media, national media and people are saying, ain't no way Ben Johnson was going to let the starters rest against Detroit, especially after the way that Detroit got smacked. Detroit smacked us, in game 2. So I don't think there was any doubt that the starters were going to play in the final game of the season, regardless of the outcome of the 49ers game. I ain't trying to get ahead, but I'm just saying, I just wanted to know your thoughts on that. And also just what do you think that with the Pro Bowl selections and all those announcements and that, do you think that's going to, put a chip on some of the players' shoulders when they go into the, like Deshaun for getting that snub, going into this upcoming game? I'm just wondering your thoughts on that. But anyway, that's all I got for y'all this time. Just wondering, man, I'm really excited about this squad, though. I ain't going to lie. Either way, shot time up, bet out. Peace.
All right, Shaw. So 7, to respond to that voicemail, I think the next game against the 49ers is going to be a tough one because us and the 49ers are both gearing up for a lot of the same things, right? Everything isn't decided for the 49ers yet either. They're still worried about seeding themselves. And so this is going to be a game that I think is going to be a really, really playoff atmosphere game. And I know we've said that before. I think we said that about the both the games against the Green Bay Packers felt like playoff atmosphere games. But this is going to be a major test for the Chicago Bears because this is a game where a lot's on the line for the Niners, a lot's on the line as well for the Chicago Bears. And so how the Bears come into this game, I think, is going to do a lot for teams and for fans as well, I should say. that are looking for this game to kind of tell us how serious the Bears are taking this whole situation, right? How seriously the Bears are going to be able to get ready for a team that's been preparing for them for a whole week, right? The Niners have 11 wins. 11 wins, and they're the 5th seed because of the way that the conference stuff works. And so because they're not necessarily out of not even the 1 seed for that matter, or winning their conference, that's something that they're looking at. And so this is a major game for both sides. The Bears haven't locked up the NFC North yet. The Seattle Seahawks haven't locked in their division yet. And so you're looking now at the Niners coming into this game, and they're gunning for the same opportunities that the Bears are gunning for. They've locked in the playoffs, but they haven't locked in exactly where their seeding is going to be. And the same thing for the Bears. This is going to be a major test for both teams. And the Bears can't take this one lightly. And I'll say this is a game where I would be terrified if the Bears get out to such a slow start against this game. You cannot get out to as slow of a start. You got to start early, you got to start fast, and you got to be consistent. The thing with the Bears, the win over the Packers is that they got lucky as far as keeping the Packers out the end zone for a little while there. Even in the first game against the Packers that we lost. I don't know if you're going to get that lucky if you're not able to put up points early against the San Francisco 49ers. You have to be locked in and ready to go for this one against the Niners. Otherwise, you're going to get punched in the face. And so, this for a lot of people, this is the last test for the Chicago Bears in the regular season. Not to say there are still things that could absolutely be on the table for the Bears in week 18, the last week of the season against the Lions. But if you get your win this week, it solidifies a lot of that for you. The Bears only need one more win to win the NFC North, and 2 more if they want to have a chance at the number 1 seed in the NFC overall. So, this is an important game for the Bears. The Bears can shore up the division with this game. The Niners can keep their hopes alive to win their division in this game, and so they got to tighten up in this one. And we'll see what they can do. This is a big test for the Bears. It's a big game for the Bears. Ben Johnson, Caleb Williams, Dennis Allen, the defense, everybody got to be locked in on this one. And if they are, hopefully we can see. Hopefully we can see. And we already know we're probably going to be without Rome Odunze again, so that's going to open up a lot for DJ Moore on the offensive side of the ball. You're going to need to run the ball against the 49ers as well. The Niners always get after Bears quarterbacks no matter who is the quarterback, so that's going to be something you have to look out for as well. And let's see what the Bears do. We're at the end of December, and we still have meaningful Chicago Bears games. When's the last time we've been able to say that? So bear down. Let's see what the Bears can do in this upcoming week. I know it's Christmas and Christmas Eve now. Christmas is tomorrow, and we just got to see. Let's see what the Bears are able to do, man. But that's going to do it for today's episode. Make sure you guys like and subscribe to the channel as well. I want to hear your thoughts on everything. How do you feel about what we're seeing right now for the Chicago Bears? How special does this team feel to you? Let me know what you guys think on that down below. Drop all your takes down below. You can follow us at Shy Bear Central. You can send us any feedback, questions, comments, concerns. ChicagoBearsCentral@gmail.com. And lastly, if you want to leave a text message and our voicemail for the mailbag, the number to do so, 773-242-9336. We're the number 1 spot for everything Chicago Bears related, and that's thanks to you, lovely and beautiful people. And like I like to end every episode on, Chi-Town up, Bear down. Love you guys. Peace, y'all.
This has been a presentation of the Break Media.